Look at that. We're live. Welcome to Let's Talk Chuckwagons. I'm Mike LaBelle along with Ray Croteau Jr. And we got a pretty cool guest, all brought to you by our friends at Limelight Audio and Media, Cinch Oilfield Hauling, and our friends at Highwood Distillers who, Ray probably indulged in a little bit of Highwood bliss over the past few days. And Lloyd, how was Lloydminster?
It was good. Yeah, not going to lie. Went by actually pretty quick compared to 10 days of the Calgary Stampede. It just something about having a turnout pen and just a little bit more room that makes things just a little easier and easier on the horses, easier on the crew. And weather was hot, a little bit smoke covered come the end, but conditions were favorable and track was fast. And everybody at Lloyd X, they did a pretty good job, and crowds were probably on an average 75 to 80% full. Obviously, the last 4 days there was pretty packed, but no, I enjoyed myself. I got the itch, got too much time spent around there, and got right into the routine of napping and visiting and taking care of horses. And I really don't feel like going back to work. I'm going to be completely honest.
Lowest paid barn hand ever. That's what it is right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like we do every other week, it's time for story time with Ray, brought to you by our friends at Highwood Distillers. And what do you got for us this week?
I'm just going to talk about, every summer wagon drivers hire people to work in their barns. And it's a high laborious job. There's, longer hours, typically, maybe some easier afternoons, but just the characters we kind of meet and people we come across. And the first girl I'm going to talk about, her name was Avril. She had, seriously, she was pretty crazy, but kind of cool all at the same time. But she showed up, she had dreads. She literally jumped a train from Montreal, and I don't think she bought a train ticket. I think she jumped in one of the train cars and actually rode it out here and come to work. So anyway, she talked about riding horses and stuff when she was younger. So we got her to gallop some horses, and she was 95 pounds soaking wet and had balls of steel and had no issue just going out and galloping and blowing out horses and doing all kinds of things. So she was pretty funny. And one thing that I remember is during the Calgary Stampede, you're in a barn, right? So what's in a barn? There's horses, there's dust, there's dirt, there's straw, there's hay, all kinds of conditions. So middle of the Stampede, she goes and gets a tattoo on her arm, this vine that wraps around her arm and up to her shoulder, and shows up into the barn. And I'm like, you got to cover that up because you're going to get infected in this barn. Lo and behold, day 7, it's not looking too good. It's kind of got a green tinge to it. And anyways, and then there was another kid earlier in my career. His name was Mike. He was a Hutterite kid. He had left the colony probably 7 or 8 years before coming to me, and he worked on the rigs and done all kinds of things. And that summer he was like a one-man show. He was a working machine, and probably one of the top 3 guys I've ever had that was actually a paid employee and kicked some major butt. But he ended up dating Troy Fladd's hired girl, and she was from Australia. So he fell in love with her, proceeded to move back to Australia and have a family of 3 boys and work at a thoroughbred ranch. So just kind of some cool stories about people that have worked with me or for me, and they still reach out once in a while and say hello. And it's kind of just the people you come across, and they enjoy the sport and the horses as much as we did.
Well, and we're pretty lucky today because we have Brian Labacane's #1 barn hand with us today.
Oh, geez. I think Brian's the #1 barn hand now.
Let's bring him in. The newly crowned Aggregate Champion from Lloyd. Jamie, how's things going?
Oh, good. Glad to be home for a few days. Let the horses stretch out in some big pens and have a real shower. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any barn hand stories when you were, or ones that you've hired that come to mind?
Oh God, I had some real winners and some real winners. So I don't know if we could go into some of those stories though. So yeah.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Now, you're coming off a pretty big, we're going to call it 10, 11 days in Lloyd. Things worked out well for you there.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised myself. I knew the horses were running. Actually, Ray came and visited with me just before the show started, and I told him, I said, well, my horses are really running. I said, I still placed 8th overall in the aggregate in Onion Lake with 9 seconds penalties. So if I can stay clean, I think I got a good shot. And lo and behold, I never stayed clean, but I think I had 3 seconds throughout the whole show, 1 second for a full start, and 1 second twice for 2 late Outriders. So, with 3 seconds, I still had a 2 second lead. So the boys were running and they kept running. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Outriders had a kind of a tough show there at times too. There's a lot of the guys in the top 5, had Outrider penalties or issues, things like that. So hopefully they can get it sorted out and finish the year off a little stronger. But no, Jamie's outfits were cracking and really running, and just come into a little bit of misfortune in the dash. Otherwise, he would have been right there at the finish line again. He had an Outrider off of barrel 1 interfere with him and basically ended up making him hit his bottom. So it just took him out of shape. So never want to see that type of thing happen. But the accomplishment of running 9 days and winning an aggregate is way more, I think, impressive than just winning a dash. So that's why we figured we'd chase you down and get you on here and talk about NACC and the show and Lloyd X and everything that went with it.
Yeah, I went into that show, and I just before Onion Lake, I thought I had my second outfit figured out, and went up to the top barrel the third day and came wide and got interference and knew that outfit wasn't cracking. And so the last day, a few horses were sore, so me and Dad were looking out in the pen and said, oh, well, I'll put 3 score on that outfit. Oh, he's a little bit off. I guess I'll throw Tux on here, and then I'll put this Pop on there. Oh, he's a little off. I guess I'll throw Charlie. And all of a sudden I went out that day and I won day money with that outfit off of 1 barrel. And I'm like, well, I guess I should just stop trying to figure out these outfits. It turns out I know nothing. So stuck that outfit on the 3-4 barrel, and they don't quite start. They start hard. They don't turn quite as hard as my 1 barrel outfit, but man, they could hang in there 2, even 3 wide some nights, and I was still hitting the top 5. So I knew I had really something there. And then I went into the 1 barrel that first go around, and the left leader I was driving with, and my right leader, he's a little finicky. He's a heck of a good horse, but if you touch him, like hold his line, he'll rear. But if you just leave him alone, he'll just stand there all day and start and work and stuff. But that left leader, he was moving all around. He caused mugs to rear, and I went straight left when the horn went and went right up against my chalk line, which I don't usually turn like that. And we made a big old turn and came out, and we ran day money that day. And everybody was congratulating me. And I said, well, yeah, it was great, but my butthole was puckered up a little bit there for a while. But so I got that 3 score back. He came sound, and threw him on that outfit, and took another left wheeler that I had at home. Actually, Dad ran in that heritage heat, threw him on there, and all of a sudden, bam, we had a really good outfit. And we would have ran a day money that one day, but we had a late outrider too. So what? I just got lucky, I guess, a little bit of luck and a little bit of the horses working well. So it was a good show.
Let's not, take anything away from the Outriders. Who did you have riding for you at this show?
I had Tyler McKenzie and Buddy Graham for most of the show, and then actually Logan Pethick came on the last 2 days and filled in and did a heck of a good job too.
And you talked a little bit about those heritage heats. They had some interesting Outriders for those, but I know Ray wanted to talk a little bit about it. And, it's got to be pretty exciting to see your dad drive in those heats, and such a respected, I'll use the term icon in the sport. I can remember, it was pretty exciting for me when I'd get to interview him at Calgary. And, now to see him recognized as one of those guys. It had to be a lot of fun.
Oh man, those guys, both of them, they were just grinning from ear to ear. Even the Outriders too. They had so much fun doing that. It was kind of funny. Dad, he said he would do it, and then he's like, geez, I don't know if my shoulders are gonna hold up. Maybe you should drive and I'll just ride with you. And I got closer and closer to the show, and everybody was talking about it. He's like, I guess I better try. So we hooked up an outfit at home, and he turned the barrels and did good. And he's like, yeah, I feel good enough. I'll go. And I think Sandy McKenzie came out of retirement. Jarrett Winus came out of retirement to do it. Who else was there, Ray, for Ray that came out of retirement? Clem, I guess?
Yeah, Clem Wissikis, Darren Mitzwing, myself, Dallas Dick come and rode the one night.
Oh, Mick Nolan came. Mick came too.
Yeah, Mick Nolan come the last night. Yeah, it was just guys that have rode the last, 20 years, right? So
100 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sandy, that's true. I don't remember the time when he wasn't riding.
Honestly, you could feel the excitement, on Monday when we did it the last time, because the crowd was full, and then you really noticed a lot of the younger generation that were working in the barns come up, and they got to the infield and they were standing around taking videos and Snapchats and Facebook Lives, and they're showing like the tent pegs and the tent fly and us setting up camp and throwing it in and how we used to do it. And we were pretty, like the first night we were pretty smooth. The second night, I think they missed one peg for Brian, and then I was late for Ray. I missed my jump. I just didn't power up enough. And
whoa! We didn't hear about this beforehand.
He did a pretty good track mount. It wasn't bad, but
it was old school. Yeah, old school. But yeah, I got a horse from BJ, and everybody kind of donates to the Outriding Horse Fund to get everybody a horse. And this horse is like 17 hands, and my ass is a little too close to the ground to jump on him that day. But anyways, we got her done. But no, it was good, and people were cheering, and I really liked watching. Brian and them guys come out, and Brian, it didn't even look like he skipped a beat from 20 years ago. It was kind of crazy actually, but it's exciting. You kind of get a funny feeling in your heart, and just you guys you grew up and you admired and watched, and they're just as excited as we are to get out there. So no, it was great.
And that's it. And we got to chat a little bit off air before we went live, Jamie, and something I thought would be fun to touch on. And I joke about it, and I say, sometimes in chuckwagon racing, the family tree extends a little long, and we joke that you guys have kind of like a family bush. Why don't you take us through how your chuckwagon family extends, if you will?
You want to talk about my bush?
I knew we were going there. I knew it.
Okay, all right. I'm maybe not as extended as maybe some of the Cosgraves and Glasses and Frasers and Dorchesters over in the world, but Dad actually started a lot of guys over here, and my sister married a Nolan, and so Carmen, my middle sister, or the middle child, I guess, married Mick Nolan, who's brothers with Vern and Shane Nolan, who's I guess married to Lisa Benzmeller now, and BJ Carey is my brother-in-law, married to my oldest sister Kim, and so we got a few people related throughout the whole thing, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, talk about the guys that had trained with your dad and your family, and just touch on a few, and it just proves the love for the sport and the horses, and kind of anybody's willing to help each other if you're willing to listen, right? So
oh yeah, like even Doug Irvine, who's been in the world for a long time, he started outriding for Dad when he started working for Dad when he was 13. I think he started outriding when he was 14 years old. And when Dad decided he was going to retire, I can't remember, I was 6-7 years old, Doug bought a whole outfit off of Dad and the liner and everything like that. And come next year, his plan was he was just going to run in Calgary, and then he was going to quit after that. But I guess the problem was he ran to Calgary and started having fun again, and all of a sudden he was buying more horses and a wagon, and he was back into it again. So he never ended up retiring there, but he started him, and he's helped countless of guys throughout his career to get going. So I don't even really know everybody, but he's a phenomenal driver. He didn't win the big show, Calgary, had trouble at that show, but he's won pretty much every other show in our association, as well as 6 championships. So just like Little Ray here, we're fortunate to learn from people like our dads to really show us how to drive properly, because we got better a lot quicker because of it.
Well, yeah, without a doubt. The guys that start up, they don't have somebody to kick them in the butt or tell them not to mess with this or mess with that. So they have to learn from mistakes, where we can skip 5 years ahead and get right into some horsepower, some depth, some sponsorship. Typically everything's there, right? So as long as we're able to put the effort in and the determination and have our mindset, everything else comes pretty easy. So yeah, we're pretty goddamn lucky, I tell you that.
I gotta tell you, I rely on my dad a lot still. We I at the end of the day, I make the decisions and it comes down to me, but we talk horses, we talk outfits constantly, and he's probably thinking as much about my outfits as I am, and that's really like very valuable when you're trying to be successful in the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you guys head to next this weekend coming up, Jamie?
We're going to Little Pine, so it's just a 3-day show, but it's a nice 5/8 track, and it's actually really nice parking out there, and good stands and everything like that. It's a pretty nice show.
Now you're
I've won it the last 2 years, so I've had pretty good luck on that track.
I was gonna say, I looked at some things, and this seems to be favorable for you.
Yeah, I've always had luck on the longer tracks. I've won shows in the shorter tracks and stuff too, but Little Pine, Dewberry, there's a few other ones that I've always had a lot of luck at. And I think you could probably attest to this. It's just sometimes you go to some place and for some reason you just can't do anything right. And I think Battleford was one for me. I usually had 1 or 2 penalties every year there for some reason.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's like timing of the year. It takes maybe a month or 2, month and a half for your outfits to gel or to settle down or to start working. And for me, it was like Drumheller and Strathmore. I'd won Drumheller 4 years in a row, and then Strathmore 3 years in a row, and it just one spilled into the other, and you were rolling, right? So, and then that type of scenario too, it was the later part of the year, so some guys were running out of horsepower, and I was just starting to get my poop in a group and things going in the right direction, and all of a sudden you're catching guys off guard. So, yeah, that's typically how it works. There's no rhyme or reason, but there's certain shows that you get along with better than others.
When you get to these shows, you get all set up. I'll say you get your liner all set up, but we'll touch on that in a little bit here, Jamie. We don't need to talk about that quite yet. Let's talk about some of your horses, because those are really the stars of the show when it comes down to it. Do you have a couple that are kind of your favorites, and why?
Oh, absolutely. That horse that I talked about that reared on me, he's probably one of my favorites. I mean, yes, he's a little bit finicky, but I think every single good horse that you have typically has something that you got to work around. And he's been on my outfit since he was 5 years old, and he's 15 years now, and he's still running day monies. And I can drive him off any barrel. He's a little more finicky now than he used to be. He used to be able to hold him, but right now, like I said, you just don't touch him, and he's 100%. But he's not a big horse. He's a little bit of a smaller horse, but he just gives you that same trip every time, and he's easy to drive on any barrel. So he's pretty special to me. And then I got his partner. His name's Three Score. He's only a second-year horse. I guess this is the third year I've had him, but Ray actually in Lloyd last year when we are.
I was going to say, is that the horse that I asked you about?
Yeah, he was just a first-year horse that year, and he after the show he came up to me and he said, "Jamie, like, who's that on left-hand lead?" And I said, "Oh, that's just first-year horse. His name's Three Scores." He said, "Well, holy man, that horse stood out." And he does. He was funny when we broke him in the spring. He was, good, but there was probably some that was better. But nothing phased that horse. Just every single time I drove him, he just got better and better and better. And now he's just phenomenal. Best left-hand leader I've ever owned, and he's just getting better and stronger. And he's only 6 years old, so I'm hoping for big things from him.
Yeah, get another 9 years out of him. That'd be great.
And I mean, Ray probably is the same way. He could talk about a million horses, but don't want to bore you guys.
No, it's funny actually. We'll touch on that and touch on, a horse retiring and kind of a horse I had. His name was Delta Monarch. And when I sold out in 2016, Mike Vegan bought him. And then from Mike, he went to Roy Romano. So this last weekend in Lloyd, he's 20 years old, this horse now. And anyways, he come up with a slight injury in a front tendon, just a little bit of a strain. And they decided to retire him. And I said, well, I'll take him out to my place and he can eat grass there for the summer. And then you guys come get him in the fall so you don't have to, pack him around or make a special trip home for this horse. And anyways, one of my favorite horses that I get to just sit on the deck now and kind of watch. And he's come back to visit for a couple months. So, it's funny the little places in their heart that they leave, and they got their own little space or pictures on the wall that you keep around forever. And that's what it is. It's, you just love them horses and love your time with them and love the effort that they put in for, a sport that your family loves. Right. So
now let's talk about leaving Lloydminster, Jamie, because it's a story we got to tell. I mean, Ray's told a lot of dumb things that he's done on Let's Talk Chuckwagons.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say this one's your fault, but you're paying for it.
It was my fault. It's at the end of the day, it's my rig, and I should have noticed it. But we were packing up on Tuesday morning, and throughout all the hustle and bustle, I forgot to put the big ratchet straps right over top the whole liner. I put two of them, one at the front, one at the back. But usually when we set up on the show, we just pull them up off the side. They just sit on top of the liner, and the guy that was working for me, he'd never done the job before, so he pulled up the things and strapped everything down, but he didn't throw the big things over the edge. My fault. I never told him, and I never noticed. So we leave the show, and I'm driving along, and I just get by Heartland. I look down, and Logan Gorst is calling me. So what the hell? Why is Logan calling me? He's like, "Hey, Jamie, this is Logan. Just don't want to be the one to tell you this, but Shallon was following you, and she watched your tarp roll off the side of your liner and rip off the side, and it's laying in the ditch here."
Oh my God! Yeah,
I don't want to repeat the rest of the conversation because I don't know if it's friendly enough, but not to him, just to my own stupidity. So then it was. I had a full day of running home, dropping off horses, running back, picking up my tarp and pipe and this morning
it's a lot of work.
Oh man, just dumb. But
and it just comes down to how much focus and energy you've invested into racing for 10 days straight or leading up to that show. Maybe you got 10 or 12 days into it, and then fatigue. So somebody's up there, you don't think twice. You're just like, okay, he's gonna strap it down. I'm tired. Let's get on the road. Let's get home. And it's a hiccup, right? And it's probably a $3,000 or $4,000 little boo boo, but
oh well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll all be good. It'll all work.
It's just
out
going to
in
be
the end.
not quite as won't be. Yeah, it's just not going to be as pretty as it once was. I guess I get to buy a new tarp, so the one side will be nice and white when it's
That's it. You're going down the road, and it's a different Chuckwagon year this year when you're heading to the meets. Let's talk about some of your sponsors that you have on board and ones that you maybe retained over the past few years.
Probably the biggest sponsor I've retained over the last few years, and I don't even know if I can call them sponsors anymore. Of course they are, but they're good friends too. Daveco Industrial construction service. They used to be Dave Co Welding, and now they updated their name because they're getting so big. They got a huge welding.
Oh, cut out a little bit.
Down in Wainwright with.
Wi-Fi is bad in St. Walburg. The ice cream machine's using up everything.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
He'll be back here. He'll be back. He's just
Dave Co's been with them for years and years, and so he was explaining and touching on their facility in Wainwright, and then I think they have another facility kind of up towards Walburg in that area, but they do a lot of the on-site manufacturing and well tie-ins and pipelines and stuff like that for the area. So sponsors soon turn into family. Their love for the sport and love for the horses are typically matched by ours, right? So we call them sponsors, but at the end of the day, we send Christmas gifts to each other and get together for family events. And it sounds like that's the kind of the typical thing is what they're dealing with. So
well, and you and I can both say for years the Labacane family was set up on the corner of those barns, and the Mavericks had them.
Yeah.
So, he's back.
There it is.
Hey, it's all good. Well, we finished talking about Dave Co, and I mentioned a little bit about the Mavericks and how they had worked with you and your dad for so many years.
Oh yeah, they're great people. Sorry, where was I? What did I end off there?
We finished Dave Co and the Mavericks. Who else you want to talk about?
Two more, I guess. Sidekicks Express. They're just a bunch of couples, companies and stuff that chip in money to get me down the road. And we don't make huge amount of money off of them, but they're great people, and they saved my bacon more than once throughout the years. And then finally, Wild Rose Pump and Compression. I phoned them up, 3 weeks before this show, and it's like, hey, we're going to Lloyd to race at the show. Would you be interested? And he jumped on board, and all of a sudden they did 4 days, and he's ready to sign on for next year, and he's more than excited. So great job, great guy, Rod Wild and his wife, and really, really phenomenally lucky. Like I guess Ray always says, you meet some really, really good people doing this sport and become friends with them, I guess.
Well, become friends and even more like family is, what Ray alluded to. It's these people, you see them during the race season, and then you see them probably even more in the off season.
Oh yeah, me and Dana are often going up to Connie and Dave Foss's cabin. We went diving up there and done lots of things. Had them to my wedding, and even the Mavericks. We had some Mavericks. Zane Novak, who's actually running for mayor now, he was at my wedding too, and Shane Butcher. So great guys, great people, and lifelong friends because of it.
Perfect. Now, something I've started to do with some of the guys is do kind of a fast 5 questions, and I think it'll be fun because, we get to learn a little bit more about you, Jamie. So if I was to ask you, who's the most famous person in your phone right now? If you were to pull up the cell phone, who's the most famous person in there?
Oh, geez, I have no freaking clue. I guess maybe I'm not like Ray, who has celebrities and stuff like that, but
they're not anymore.
Maybe Zane Novak, because he's running for mayor there. Does that make him?
Hey, it sure does. It sure does.
Yeah,
I don't know.
What's your favorite food?
Oh, that's sushi.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just threw that out there.
That's great. I like sushi too. We jump in the truck with you. What's playing on the radio? Usually country. And which is your favorite track to run on?
Sorry,
which is your favorite track to run on?
Actually, Lloydminster. I love that track.
All right. And if you could do an impression of anyone, who would it be? You do?
Oh,
Oh, come on. Just once.
I could do Darcy Flad, but I don't think it'd be appropriate for. Well, you know, you guys, you got to get out there, and you got to. No, better not do that. Sorry.
You were short about 3 F-bombs there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That was okay. That was okay. Well, this has been awesome, and we're going to, wish you the best the rest of the year, and we're going to follow along. And who gets to drive the new white truck?
I hope I get to drive it a few times, but my wife says that it's hers, so I'm not really sure. Maybe I can figure out. Maybe I can buy it. She'll allow me to buy a few more horses, and she can drive the truck then.
That's a good trade. I like that one. Hell yeah.
A horse trade and negotiation, just the way it should be.
Isn't that what a marriage is? Constant negotiation.
Well, do you honestly want to know what a marriage is? This is what I was told.
Okay, I'm just 5 years into this, so I'll take any advice I can get.
All right. Well, a marriage is you betting half your stuff that she's going to love you forever.
Ain't that the truth?
Being your wagon racer, you're in debt, so you're okay.
I don't think she wants half my stuff.
This is great. This is awesome.
Half of nothing is still nothing, dear.
Oh, well, thanks for doing this, Jamie. It's been awesome. Ray, any other questions for Jamie?
Not off the top of my head. No, I was pretty fortunate to get to hang down there and even ride a few heats, and halfway through Chance Flad bought my card, and I ended up actually riding competitively in a race and had to perform. So that was a little bit of stress at first, but no, I miss it. I miss the work you put into it, and the long days, and the getting the horses to perform, and we were able to make a few changes and get Chances really working, and I don't know, it's hard to stay out of there. It's in my blood. I've been around it forever. I took a 5-6 year break, and I just can't seem to stay away. I could go camping, I could go fishing, I could do whatever I kind of want on my holidays. And where do I choose to go is to pick up some shit in behind a horse and ride and, wrap their legs and do all the work that that's what I know. So anyways, they put on a good show there, and congrats to Jamie and the new truck and his family and bride and kids and everybody there, and Brian and Brenda. So it's it's good job.
Thank you. You're going to be the first one, Jamie. I need kind of the over under on if you think Ray is going to come back and get himself an outfit and start racing again. Oh, did he freeze there? That would be bad.
Oh, there you go. I'm back.
Okay.
Go again.
That was good timing.
I need the over-under on if you think Ray is going to start racing again.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
100%.
I can see it in his eyes. He's already scheming how to do it.
That's all I need to know. Well, this has been a lot of fun, and I think he's a lot closer to the truth than what other people might be saying. So thanks for that, Jamie. We just needed the inside track on whether Ray needs to buy a bigger place and get himself 30 brand new thoroughbreds.
Yeah.
The one thing I do have to do, guys, and I forgot to do this off the top, and Ray, Jamie doesn't know Jody as well, but Ray does. Yesterday, our producer, Jody, it was her birthday. We forgot to wish her happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jody.
Yeah, happy birthday. Yeah, she's disappeared on us. It's all good. It's not a big deal. But you know what, friends? This has been a lot of fun. Make sure you join us next week. Sorry it was Wednesday, but everyone was driving, and really at the end of the day, Jamie was trying to find tarps. So we couldn't do it yesterday. Until next week, do us a favor. Drink responsibly. Drive safe. Give your kids a hug. God bless. We'll see you next week on Let's Talk Chuckwagons.